Hey there, fellow literature explorers. Today, we turn our gaze toward Venom. There Be Carnage, a 2021 action horror film that offers much more than narrative surface. It's a text rich with thematic complexity, symbolic resonance, and intricate character work that invites rigorous analysis. I'm delighted you've joined me, because in this video, we'll engage in a detailed examination of its cinematic language, narrative structure, and intertextual layers that shape its meaning. We'll begin by situating the film within its cultural and theoretical context, unpacking its stylistic choices and the director's auteur signature. Next, I'll provide a concise yet nuanced overview of the narrative arc, highlighting the film's core motifs without diluting its interpretive possibilities. From there, we'll delve into a compelling plot summary that foregrounds its narrative strategies and rhetorical devices, all framed to prepare you for the unfolding complexities. Crucially, we'll tease key thematic elements and pivotal narrative shifts, those moments that challenge conventional readings and open the text to multiple interpretations. Throughout, expect us to consider character dynamics, cinematic techniques like mise-en-scene and editing, and the film's engagement with broader discourses in film and literary theory. Prepare to engage with this film not just as viewers, but as scholars, questioning, interpreting, and appreciating the layers beneath its surface. So, get comfortable, sharpen your critical lens, and let's embark on an intellectually rewarding exploration of this cinematic work. To situate the film within its cultural and theoretical milieu, we first recognize that this sequel operates in a cinematic landscape heavily influenced by superhero genre conventions while simultaneously subverting and complicating them through its horror-inflected tone and psychologically fragmented protagonists. Director Andy Serkis, renowned for his motion capture artistry and nuanced storytelling, imbues the film with a textured mise-en-scene that reflects his auteur sensibility, melding visceral corporeality with dark humor and existential inquiry. His signature use of dynamic camera work and layered visual effects amplifies the unsettling intimacy between human and symbiote, an embodiment of duality and hybridity. Narratively, the film continues the entwined journeys of Eddie Brock and his alien symbiote Venom, but pivots to introduce a more chaotic and destructive force, Carnage, the offspring of Venom, whose presence destabilizes the precarious balance Eddie has forged. The storyline unfolds through a dualistic interplay of internal and external conflict, foregrounding motifs of control, identity fragmentation, and the ethics of symbiosis. Here, the narrative arc challenges simplistic hero-villain binaries, presenting characters whose motivations and psychologies complicate traditional moral frameworks. The film's rhetorical devices include the use of dark comedy as a coping mechanism for trauma and alienation, and a narrative structure that juxtaposes moments of frenetic violence with quieter introspection. Its editing rhythm oscillates between rapid, disorienting cuts during action sequences and lingering shots that emphasize psychological tension and relational dynamics, thereby manipulating viewer engagement and emotional investment. Key thematic elements revolve around duality and the self-other dialectic. Venom and Eddie's codependent existence symbolizes the human struggle with internal multiplicity, the conflict between desire and restraint, chaos and order. Carnage emerges as a hyperbolic shadow self, representing unbridled ID and destruction. The film's pivotal narrative shifts, such as Carnage's brutal introduction and the eventual reconciliation between Eddie and Venom, challenge viewers to reconsider concepts of agency, responsibility, and redemption. Character dynamics further complicate the film's interpretive field. Eddie/Venom's symbiosis can be read as a metaphor for psychological integration, exploring the tension between alienation and acceptance. The antagonistic Carnage exemplifies the dangers of unchecked impulses and fractured identities. Supporting characters contribute to thematic discourse on trauma, justice, and the search for connection. From a cinematic perspective, the film's mise-en-scene employs claustrophobic interiors contrasted with chaotic urban landscapes, visually articulating the containment and eruption of suppressed impulses. The use of chiaroscuro lighting underscores the thematic interplay of shadow and light within the characters' psyches. Editing techniques, jump cuts, match cuts, and rhythmic pacing enhance narrative complexity, while sound design uses discordant motifs and symbiotic growls to evoke unease and symbiotic tension, engaging with the film through the lenses of psychoanalytic theory, posthumanism, and genre hybridity enriches our understanding of its layered meanings. It prompts reflection on identity's fluidity, the embodiment of the other within, and the societal anxieties surrounding monstrousness and moral ambiguity. As we embark on this exploration, keep in mind the film's invitation to interrogate beneath its visceral thrills, to engage not just with what is seen, but what is implied and symbolized. This is a cinematic text that rewards close reading, inviting us to decode its symbiotic complexities and cultural resonances. So, without further ado, let's delve deeper into the narrative arc, character intricacies, and thematic architecture of Venom. Let There Be Carnage, setting the stage for an enriching dialogue that bridges cinematic artistry with critical thought. The film opens with a pulsating energy, a world teetering between normalcy and chaos, centered around Eddie Brock, a man whose life is anything but ordinary. Once a journalist, Eddie now wrestles not only with his fractured career but with a symbiotic presence that inhabits his body, Venom. Their uneasy partnership is marked by dark humor, tension, and a fragile balance between control and surrender. From the outset, this internal duality sets the tone, inviting viewers into a narrative where identity itself is contested territory. Eddie's life is further complicated by his attempts to move on, both personally and professionally. He is trying to rebuild his relationship with Wang, a path fraught with hesitation and unspoken pain. Their tentative reconnection is a fragile thread of humanity amidst the turmoil, providing moments of quiet intimacy that contrast sharply with the chaos brewing beneath the surface. Parallel to Eddie's struggle, the narrative introduces a new force of disruption, Cletus Kasady. A man whose psyche is shattered by trauma and madness, Kasady's violent tendencies and prison life hint at a deeper darkness. The film carefully sketches his backstory in brief yet impactful scenes, revealing a man whose capacity for brutality is both a product and a reflection of profound psychological rupture. Kasady's character embodies chaos incarnate, a harbinger of destruction poised to unleash forces far beyond his control. The inciting incident occurs when Eddie, pursuing a story on Kasady's crimes, inadvertently becomes intertwined with this volatile figure. An altercation leads to Kasady's exposure to the symbiote, a moment that shatters any semblance of control and sets the narrative on a collision course with catastrophe. This fusion gives rise to Carnage, a symbiote far more ruthless and unrestrained than Venom, embodying raw ID and unchecked aggression. As Carnage's presence intensifies, the film escalates tension through a series of increasingly violent confrontations. Kasady's newfound power propels him into a spree of chaos, challenging both law enforcement and Eddie's tenuous hold on his own symbiote. The narrative intersperses frenetic action sequences with moments of psychological unease, emphasizing the thematic core of internal struggle mirrored in external conflict. Eddie's relationship with Venom undergoes strain as their contrasting natures clash. Venom's protective instincts wrestle with Eddie's desire for normalcy, creating a dynamic fraught with both humor and existential tension. Their banter and mutual dependency offer a darkly comedic through line, humanizing the monstrous and exploring the nuances of symbiosis beyond simple parasitism. Meanwhile, Wang's role expands as she grapples with her feelings for Eddie and the dangerous world he inhabits. Her presence introduces stakes grounded in emotional connection, highlighting the human cost of Eddie's battles. Scenes featuring and navigate themes of trust, vulnerability, and resilience, balancing the film's heavier violence with relational depth. The film's setting, urban landscapes marked by shadowy corners and neon glows, amplifies the narrative's noir-inflected tone. Cinematic choices underscore the sense of lurking menace and psychological fragmentation, situating the story within a world where boundaries between self and other, order and chaos, are blurred. As the first arc progresses, Eddie and Venom's attempts to contain the Carnage threat lead to alliances and confrontations that test their limits. Their encounters are marked by visceral combat, strategic maneuvers, and moments of unexpected empathy. The film explores the tension between destruction and redemption, using Carnage's unrelenting violence as a foil to Eddie and Venom's complex coexistence. A pivotal sequence features a dramatic prison breakout, where Carnage's raw power is unleashed in full force. This event raises stakes exponentially, transforming Kasady from a confined menace into a public threat. The chaos of the breakout is depicted with kinetic energy. Rapid cuts, dynamic camera movements, and intense sound design converge to create a sense of overwhelming danger. This scene serves as both narrative turning point and thematic crucible, spotlighting the consequences of unchecked impulse and fractured identity. Throughout these developments, the film weaves in moments of dark humor and self-awareness. Eddie and Venom's internal dialogues provide insight into their fractured partnership, using wit to navigate existential dread. This tonal interplay adds complexity, inviting viewers to engage with the characters' vulnerabilities amid the carnage. The first half closes on a crescendo of conflict and uncertainty. Eddie's struggle to control Venom and contain Carnage mirrors broader themes of chaos and order, self and other. The narrative tension hinges on whether this fragile equilibrium can be maintained or will shatter under the weight of violent impulses. In sum, the opening arc of the film masterfully balances high-octane action with psychological depth. It introduces complex characters caught in transformative crises, sets up thematic explorations of duality and control, and immerses viewers in a world where monstrousness and humanity collide. This foundation prepares the audience for an unfolding narrative that promises both spectacle and profound inquiry. The narrative surges forward from the chaos unleashed by Carnage's breakout, plunging Eddie Brock and his symbiotic counterpart, Venom, into a harrowing journey where the boundaries between friend and foe, self and other, blur in exhilarating and unsettling ways. This latter part of the film is a relentless tempest, weaving intense action, emotional reckonings, and profound thematic revelations into a crescendo that redefines the characters' fates and challenges the very nature of their coexistence. The story's momentum accelerates as Carnage, fueled by unrestrained rage and violent impulses, sows destruction across the cityscape. The scale of chaos is staggering. Blazing fires consume buildings, terrified crowds scatter through smoke-choked streets, and the air vibrates with the echoes of clashing titans. Cinematic techniques amplify this mayhem. Rapid editing immerses the audience in the frenzied pulse of violence, while sweeping camera movements capture the towering forms of symbiotes locked in brutal combat. The visceral immediacy of these scenes is both thrilling and disorienting, reflecting the characters' fracturing realities. Eddie's internal conflict intensifies as his tenuous bond with Venom is tested by the mounting pressure. The symbiote's protective yet aggressive nature clashes with Eddie's growing desperation to preserve his humanity and those he cares about. Their shared body becomes a battleground of wills, a metaphor for the struggle between primal urges and conscious restraint. The film uses darkly humorous exchanges between them to reveal vulnerability beneath the monstrous facade, offering a layered portrayal of identity fractured and reassembled through symbiosis. And Wang's arc gains greater emotional weight in this phase. Her resilience and determination come to the fore as she navigates danger and uncertainty, embodying themes of loyalty and courage. Scenes highlighting her perspective add poignant counterpoints to the mayhem, grounding the narrative in personal stakes. Her interactions with Eddie are fraught with complexity, reconciliation tempered by fear and hope, connection shadowed by the monstrous forces threatening their world. A major turning point unfolds with the revelation of Carnage's motivations, rooted not solely in chaos but in a twisted quest for retribution and release. This deepens the antagonist's character beyond mere destruction, framing Kasadi as a figure shattered by trauma, whose monstrousness is both external and internal. The film's narrative strategy here invites viewers to engage with themes of pain, madness, and the human capacity for violence, complicating the moral landscape. The film's action sequences escalate in scale and intensity, culminating in a series of confrontations that test alliances and resolve. Venom and Eddie, grappling with their own fractured union, are forced into uneasy partnerships with law enforcement and other characters to contain Carnage's rampage. These collaborations are marked by tension and mistrust, reflecting broader themes of coexistence amid conflict. A visually striking set piece involves a climactic battle at a sprawling carnival, a symbolic locale where chaos and joy intertwine. The vibrant, chaotic backdrop contrasts with the grim violence unfolding, heightening emotional resonance. Amid swirling lights, shattered glass, and tumbling rides, the combatant struggles become a metaphor for internal and external disorder. Cinematography uses wide shots to capture the spectacle and tight close-ups to convey raw emotion, intertwining spectacle with intimacy. The film also explores the consequences of violence and redemption through Eddie's increasing self-awareness and Venom's protective instincts. A pivotal moment occurs when Eddie risks himself to save innocents, marking a turning point in their partnership. This act transcends survival, suggesting an emergent morality within their hybrid existence. The narrative juxtaposes this with Carnage's relentless brutality, underscoring the tension between destruction and preservation. Editing techniques during these sequences balance rapid cuts with rhythmic pauses, allowing viewers to absorb both the physical chaos and the emotional stakes. Sound design enhances impact, layering mechanical growls with human cries, music swelling with tension and release. This multisensory approach deepens engagement, making battles not only visual spectacles but emotional odysseys. The film's climax crystallizes its thematic core. Eddie and Venom confront Carnage in a battle that is both physical and psychological. The fight is choreographed to highlight contrasts: light and dark, control and chaos, symbiosis and fragmentation. Moments of vulnerability punctuate the conflict, revealing the characters' fears and hopes beneath monstrous exteriors. The narrative tension hinges on whether unity and restraint can overcome primal rage. A major plot twist emerges as Carnage's weaknesses are exploited, revealing that the symbiote's power is intrinsically linked to its host's psyche. This insight reframes the battle as not just a fight of strength but of will and self-mastery. The film uses this to deepen its exploration of identity, suggesting that control over one's inner demons is as crucial as physical prowess. Resolution arrives with a bittersweet tone. The immediate threat is contained, but the characters are irrevocably changed. Eddie and Venom's relationship is transformed, hinting at new possibilities for coexistence and growth. Anne's presence underscores the enduring importance of human connection amid chaos. The film closes on an open note, balancing closure with anticipation, suggesting that transformation is ongoing, and that the battle between order and chaos continues within and beyond. This second arc, rich with spectacle and nuance, weaves together narrative threads and thematic inquiries into a compelling finale. It challenges viewers to consider the nature of identity, the costs of violence, and the possibility of redemption. Through its blend of thrilling action, emotional depth, and symbolic complexity, the film delivers a satisfying yet thought-provoking conclusion, inviting reflection on what it means to be human, monstrous, and anything in between. In the heart of Venom, Let There Be Carnage lies a fascinating exploration of fractured identities and uneasy alliances, embodied in characters whose complexity transcends their monstrous exteriors. The film's true power emerges through its nuanced portrayal of individuals caught between conflicting impulses, each grappling with inner chaos and the yearning for connection. Delving into the psychological and symbolic depths of these characters reveals a rich tapestry where duality, trauma, and transformation intertwine, inviting us to reconsider notions of selfhood and otherness. Eddie Brock stands at the narrative's emotional and thematic core, a man perpetually divided between human frailty and alien power. His character is crafted with layers of vulnerability, humor, and resilience. On the surface, Eddie is a flawed everyman, a journalist fallen from grace, struggling to regain stability in both career and personal life. Yet beneath this ordinariness pulses a profound tension: the coexistence with Venom, a symbiotic entity that is at once protector, tormentor, and dark mirror. The duality between Eddie and Venom is central to the film's exploration of identity. Their relationship is neither simple parasitism nor seamless fusion but a constant negotiation, a push and pull of wills and desires. Venom embodies primal instincts, unfiltered aggression, and a carnivorous appetite, representing the ID unleashed. Eddie, by contrast, strives for control, morality, and human connection. This internal dialogue, often rendered through sharp, darkly comedic exchanges, humanizes their monstrous bond, transforming it into a metaphor for the fractured self and the struggle to integrate conflicting aspects of one's nature. Eddie's arc is defined by his gradual acceptance of this duality. His initial resistance and fear evolve into a tentative embrace of Venom's presence, recognizing that their survival depends on cooperation. This dynamic reflects broader themes of self-acceptance and the reconciliation of shadow selves. Eddie's vulnerability, his fears, regrets, and desires, renders him relatable, grounding the film's fantastical elements in authentic human emotion. Venom, voiced with a gravelly wit and menacing charm, transcends the role of a mere monster. He is characterized by loyalty, possessiveness, and a peculiar sense of humor that serves as both coping mechanism and expression of identity. His protectiveness toward Eddie reveals layers of attachment and empathy, complicating traditional villainous tropes. Venom's character challenges binary distinctions between good and evil, monster and hero, inviting viewers to consider the fluidity of moral categories. Opposing them is Cletus Kasady, whose symbiotic fusion with Carnage amplifies his already fractured psyche. Kasady is a portrait of chaotic madness and unrelenting violence, shaped by a traumatic past that the film hints at but leaves tantalizingly vague. His character embodies the destructive potential of unchecked rage and the dissolution of identity into pure impulse. Carnage, as an extension of Kasady, represents the shadow unleashed, a force of annihilation driven by revenge and nihilism. Unlike Eddie and Venom's uneasy partnership, Kasady and Carnage exemplify symbiosis gone awry, where host and symbiote feed off mutual chaos rather than cooperation. This relationship dramatizes themes of fragmentation and the dangers of surrendering to destructive instincts. Kasady's gleeful embrace of violence and his merciless pursuit of destruction stand as a dark counterpoint to Eddie's struggle for balance and redemption. The film's supporting characters enrich this thematic landscape, offering perspectives on connection, trauma, and resilience. And Weighing, Eddie's ex-fiancée, emerges as a figure of strength and compassion. Her interactions with Eddie and Venom navigate complex emotional terrain. Love complicated by fear, hope intertwined with skepticism. Anne's character grounds the narrative, providing a human anchor amid monstrous upheaval. Her journey from estrangement to renewed trust underscores themes of forgiveness and the healing power of relationships. Detective Mulligan adds another dimension, embodying the law's confrontation with the unknown. His skepticism and tenacity highlight tensions between order and chaos, reason and the inexplicable. Mulligan's character acts as a foil to Eddie, representing institutional authority grappling with forces beyond comprehension. His evolution, from dismissive skeptic to wary collaborator, reflects broader narrative themes of acceptance and adaptation. Symbolism permeates character design and behavior. Venom's hulking, amorphous form suggests the malleability of identity and the power of the unconscious. His shifting shapes and textures echo the fluid boundaries between self and other, human and alien. Kasady's grotesque, spiky appearance amplifies his role as embodiment of primal rage and fragmentation, his form a visual manifestation of internal chaos. Cinematic techniques enhance character portrayal. Close-up shots capture subtle shifts in Eddie's expressions, moments of doubt, humor, pain, inviting empathy and revealing the human beneath the monster. Venom's vocal performance, laden with guttural tones and sardonic wit, provides insight into his personality and emotional state. The interplay of lighting and shadow across characters' faces underscores internal conflicts and dualities. The film also engages with psychoanalytic themes, particularly the notion of the doppelganger and the integration of the shadow self. Eddie and Venom's symbiosis can be read as a dramatization of internal psychological struggles, the negotiation between conscious self and repressed impulses. Kasady and Carnage represent the dangers of unintegrated shadows, where dissociation leads to destruction. This dynamic invites reflection on the human condition, the complexity of identity, and the potential for transformation through acceptance. Humor plays a critical role in character dynamics, especially between Eddie and Venom. Their witty banter and sardonic exchanges provide relief amid tension, while deepening their relationship. This dark comedy reveals their interdependence and mutual adaptation, making their monstrous bond both relatable and compelling. In sum, the film's characters embody a rich interplay of psychological, symbolic, and thematic elements. Their fractured identities, complex relationships, and evolving partnerships invite viewers to engage with questions of selfhood, morality, and the boundaries of the human. Through nuanced performances and layered writing, these figures transcend genre conventions, offering a textured meditation on what it means to be whole in a world of chaos and contradiction. Behind the explosive action sequences and the electrifying clash of symbiotes lies a trove of fascinating stories and quirky anecdotes from the making of Venom. Let There Be Carnage. The film's production was an adventure in its own right, a blend of cutting-edge technology, creative problem-solving, and moments of unexpected chaos that revealed the humanity behind the monstrous spectacle. These strange and little-known facts not only illuminate the immense effort behind the scenes but also enrich our appreciation of the film's craftsmanship and spirit. One of the most intriguing aspects of the production was the innovative use of motion capture technology, especially given the film's focus on symbiotic characters whose forms shift between human and monstrous. Andy Serkis, known as a pioneer in performance capture, brought his expertise to bear in directing scenes where actors had to embody characters that would later be transformed digitally. Tom Hardy, who plays Eddie Brock and provides Venom's voice and physicality, underwent intense motion capture sessions where even subtle facial expressions and gestures were recorded. This approach allowed for unprecedented emotional nuance in a character who is part man, part alien. What's lesser known is how much physicality went into creating Venom's unique movements. Hardy reportedly worked with a movement coach to develop the fluid, almost liquid-like motions that distinguish Venom from more rigid robotic creatures. The challenge was to balance the creature's grotesque size and power with a sense of organic flexibility and personality. On set, Hardy often wore partial prosthetics and interacted with stand-ins covered in green suits to simulate Venom's presence, creating a dynamic interplay that was captured in both physical and digital layers. The production's commitment to practical effects alongside CGI led to some amusing and unexpected moments. For instance, during filming of a pivotal fight scene, a large animatronic prop designed to mimic Carnage's claw malfunctioned and flailed unpredictably. The crew had to improvise quickly to ensure safety, but the incident elicited genuine laughter and camaraderie, easing tension amid the intense shoot. This blend of high-tech marvel and human error became emblematic of the set's atmosphere. Serious about craft but grounded in reality. Filming locations themselves presented unusual challenges and surprises. The movie's urban sequences were shot across various sites, including areas of London that were transformed to evoke the gritty, shadowy ambience appropriate for the story. Navigating busy city streets with large equipment and coordinating stunts amid unpredictable weather demanded meticulous planning. In one instance, a sudden downpour interrupted a key scene, forcing the team to adapt lighting and choreography on the fly, a testament to their flexibility and creative problem-solving. Behind the scenes, the actors forged bonds that extended beyond the screen. Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson, who plays Cletus Kasady, developed a playful rivalry during filming. Off-camera, they engaged in friendly pranks and improvisational banter that mirrored the chaotic energy of their characters' interactions. This dynamic reportedly helped inject spontaneous humor and unpredictability into their scenes, enhancing the film's tone. On set, their chemistry was palpable, fostering a collaborative spirit that permeated production. Voice recording sessions for the symbiotes revealed surprising anecdotes. Hardy's vocal performance as Venom involved a mix of growls, whispers, and sardonic remarks delivered in isolation. At times, his intense vocalizations caused temporary disruptions in the studio, including a memorable incident where his low-frequency sounds triggered the building's fire alarm, resulting in an unplanned evacuation. The cast and crew recounted this with laughter, exemplifying the unpredictable nature of bringing such a character to life. The film's sound design also involved creative experiments. Sound engineers captured unusual noises, ripping rubber, metallic scrapes, animalistic growls, and layered them to construct the symbiotes' auditory identities. They even incorporated the sounds of Tom Hardy's breathing and heartbeat, blending human elements with alien textures to heighten intimacy. This attention to detail created a rich sonic palette that supports the film's emotional and visceral impact. In a fascinating intersection of technology and storytelling, the filmmakers utilized virtual production techniques, employing LED walls and real-time rendering to visualize complex scenes before full CGI integration. This innovation allowed actors and directors to interact more naturally with digital environments, improving performance and narrative coherence. Such cutting-edge methods reflect the film's position at the frontier of contemporary visual effects. Costume design carried its own peculiar challenges. While much of Venom and Carnage's forms were digital, physical elements, such as Eddie's jacket and certain prosthetics, had to withstand rigorous stunt work and multiple takes. The costume department experimented with materials that balanced durability with flexibility. On occasion, actors had to endure uncomfortable fittings and heat inside heavy gear, testing their endurance and commitment. The film also engaged with its fanbase in creative ways during production. Locations were sometimes visited by enthusiastic fans who brought homemade costumes and signs. The production team embraced this enthusiasm, inviting some fans to serve as extras or participate in background scenes, enhancing authenticity and community connection. These grassroots interactions underscored the film's cultural resonance beyond the screen. Interestingly, the movie's title, Let There Be Carnage, was chosen after extensive discussions to capture the duality of menace and chaos inherent in Casati's character. It signals a tonal shift from the first film, promising a darker, more intense exploration of symbiotic violence, which the production sought to manifest through every aspect, from script to special effects. In post-production, the editing team faced the challenge of balancing frenetic action with character-driven moments. Early cuts of fight scenes were trimmed and rearranged multiple times to preserve narrative clarity amid visual complexity. Sound mixing was equally meticulous, ensuring that the symbiotes' voices and movements were both distinct and integrated into the overall soundscape. The marketing campaign cleverly leveraged these behind-the-scenes stories to build anticipation. Featurettes highlighted Tom Hardy's motion capture work, Harrelson's transformation into Carnage, and the symbiotic relationship between actors and digital artists. Interactive online experiences allowed fans to explore the technology behind the creatures, deepening engagement and appreciation. Ultimately, these strange facts and anecdotes reveal a production alive with innovation, challenge, and camaraderie. From technological breakthroughs to human moments of levity and resilience, the making of Venom, Let There Be Carnage was a complex dance of artistry and practicality. These stories remind us that behind every monstrous roar and cinematic spectacle is a vibrant human endeavor, fueled by passion, creativity, and the occasional unpredictable twist. In the sprawling narrative of Venom, Let There Be Carnage, significant events function not merely as plot devices but as fulcrums that pivot the film's thematic explorations and emotional resonance. From a critical perspective, these moments invite us to examine the intricate dance between spectacle and substance, the interplay of character psychology with genre conventions, and the ways in which the film navigates complex questions of identity, agency, and morality. By unpacking these key events, we uncover how they shape audience reception and contribute to the film's layered impact. The opening sequences establish a foundational tension that reverberates throughout the film. Eddie Brock's uneasy coexistence with Venom introduces the central motif of duality, the internal struggle between human frailty and alien otherness. This dynamic challenges traditional superhero archetypes, presenting a protagonist whose power is both a gift and a burden. The film's depiction of their symbiosis can be read through psychoanalytic frameworks as a dramatization of the fragmented self, where integration of shadow aspects becomes imperative for wholeness. This complexity adds depth to the narrative, inviting viewers to engage with psychological themes rarely foregrounded in blockbuster cinema. The film's early introduction of Cletus Kasady and his transformation into Carnage marks a critical escalation in both plot and thematic tension. Kasady's character embodies chaotic destruction and psychological fragmentation, serving as a dark mirror to Eddie and Venom's tentative harmony. From a critical standpoint, this event foregrounds the theme of the shadow self unleashed, a manifestation of unchecked ID impulses and trauma's corrosive power. The violent rampage Carnage embarks upon disrupts societal order, symbolizing the eruption of repressed chaos into the public sphere. Carnage's breakout from prison operates as a narrative and symbolic rupture. Cinematically, the scene employs rapid editing, dynamic camera work, and immersive sound design to evoke overwhelming menace and loss of control. This moment resonates with critical discourses on monstrosity and the abject, where the boundary between human and monster dissolves. The film thus situates Carnage as both a literal and metaphorical force of dissolution, challenging viewers to confront fears of otherness and internal disintegration. Eddie and Venom's attempts to contain Carnage bring to light questions of agency and codependence. Their partnership is fraught with negotiation and conflict, reflecting the ambivalence inherent in symbiotic relationships. Critically, their dynamic can be interpreted through the lens of relational theory, where identity formation emerges through engagement with the other. Venom's protectiveness juxtaposed with his appetite illustrates the tension between nurturing and destructive impulses within the self. A pivotal narrative event is the escalating confrontation between Eddie/Venom and Kasadi/Carnage amid the urban chaos. This clash, framed as both physical battle and psychological contest, foregrounds themes of control, responsibility, and redemption. The carnage inflicted upon the cityscape is not merely spectacle but a metaphor for internal and societal fragmentation. The film's choreography and editing of these sequences emphasize the cyclical nature of violence, highlighting how destruction breeds further chaos. And Wang's role throughout the film deepens the emotional stakes and thematic complexity. Her evolving relationship with Eddie underscores themes of trust, vulnerability, and reconciliation. Critically, and functions as a moral and emotional anchor, her presence reminding audiences of the human costs embedded within monstrous narratives. Scenes focusing on her perspective offer moments of respite and reflection, balancing the film's relentless energy with intimacy. The film's climax, a high-stakes battle at a carnival, operates on multiple symbolic levels. The carnival setting, traditionally associated with spectacle, illusion, and transgression, serves as a liminal space where order collapses and identities are tested. Cinematographically, the use of vibrant lights contrasted with shadowy corners accentuates themes of duality and ambiguity. This final confrontation epitomizes the film's interrogation of self-mastery, as characters confront their inner demons amidst external chaos. Carnage's defeat through the reclamation of agency by Eddie and Venom signifies thematic resolution. The film posits that control over one's darker impulses is achievable through integration and partnership. This denouement aligns with narratives of psychological healing and transformation, offering a hopeful vision amidst the carnage. The resolution avoids simplistic binaries, instead embracing complexity and ambiguity, a hallmark of the film's critical engagement. The film's tonal oscillation between dark humor and visceral horror enriches its thematic texture. The witty exchanges between Eddie and Venom provide a mechanism for negotiating trauma and alienation. The film's tonal oscillation between dark humor and visceral horror enriches its thematic texture. The witty exchanges between Eddie and Venom provide a mechanism for negotiating trauma and alienation, framing monstrousness with relatability. This interplay challenges genre conventions, allowing the film to simultaneously entertain and provoke reflection. Audience reception reflects appreciation for this layered approach. Viewers resonate with the film's blend of thrilling spectacle and psychological nuance, valuing characters who embody both strength and vulnerability. Critical discourse has acknowledged the film's contribution to expanding the superhero genre's emotional and thematic possibilities, highlighting its engagement with identity politics, trauma, and moral ambiguity. In sum, Venom, There Be Carnage uses its significant events not just to drive plot but to articulate a complex meditation on the fractured self, the dynamics of symbiosis, and the struggle for integration amid chaos. These moments, infused with symbolic weight and psychological depth, elevate the film beyond action spectacle, inviting audiences to grapple with enduring questions of identity, agency, and the human condition. Through its critical and emotional resonance, the film carves a distinctive space within contemporary cinema, blending blockbuster thrills with meaningful inquiry. Behind the towering symbiotes and explosive action sequences of Venom, There Be Carnage lies an equally compelling tale of creativity, innovation, and unexpected moments that shape the film's very existence. The production was a sprawling endeavor, balancing state-of-the-art technology with human ingenuity and collaboration. From the earliest days of conceptualization to the final cut, the journey to bring this story to life was marked by challenges, surprises, and the passionate dedication of countless artists and technicians. Exploring these behind-the-scenes insights and fun facts not only reveals the immense complexity involved but also highlights the vibrant humanity at the core of the filmmaking process. The film's director, Andy Serkis, brought a unique perspective to the project, blending his pioneering expertise in motion capture performance with a keen eye for emotional storytelling. Known for his transformative work as Gollum and Caesar in other franchises, Serkis approached the symbiotic characters not just as visual effects feats but as psychological entities. This meant extensive collaboration between the actors and the visual effects teams to ensure performances were authentic and nuanced, despite much of the final imagery being computer-generated. Tom Hardy's commitment to embodying both Eddie Brock and Venom was legendary on set. Hardy engaged in rigorous physical preparation and motion capture sessions, working closely with movement coaches to develop Venom's distinctive gestures and postures. Fluid yet powerful, alien but oddly animalistic. Behind the scenes, Hardy's dedication included hours of vocal training to produce Venom's gravelly yet sardonic voice, which became iconic. Interestingly, some of Hardy's vocalizations were so intense that during recording sessions they accidentally triggered fire alarms in the studio, prompting temporary evacuations and much amusement. The creation of Carnage, the film's formidable antagonist, was equally groundbreaking. Portrayed by Woody Harrelson, Cassady's transformation into Carnage required a fusion of live action and complex CGI. Harrelson's performance captured the unhinged energy and madness of Cassady, while the visual effects artists painstakingly crafted Carnage's spiky, shifting form to be simultaneously terrifying and visually captivating. The design team studied various organic and mechanical textures to give Carnage a grotesque yet dynamic appearance. One challenge they faced was animating Carnage's tendrils to move with unpredictable, snake-like motions, which involved developing new software tools and extensive trial and error. Filming locations added layers of authenticity and complexity. Urban scenes were shot in London, which doubled effectively for the film's unnamed city, providing a blend of gritty streets and modern architecture. Navigating the logistical challenges of shooting high-intensity action in busy city environments required coordination with local authorities and meticulous planning. In contrast, studio work provided controlled environments for intricate scenes involving stunts and green screen effects, allowing the creative team to experiment freely. The interplay of practical effects and CGI was a hallmark of the production. While much of the symbiote action was digitally created, practical props and animatronics were used to ground performances. For example, during close-up shots, actors interacted with physical models or partial suits that helped them visualize their alien counterparts. This blend ensured a tangible presence on set, enhancing the realism and facilitating more genuine reactions. Stunt coordination was another arena of remarkable effort. Complex sequences, such as high-speed chases, intense hand-to-hand combat, and acrobatic leaps, were choreographed with precision. Safety was paramount, yet the production sought to push boundaries to capture authentic, visceral thrills. Tom Hardy performed many of his own stunts, including scenes involving vehicle maneuvers and physical combat, showcasing a dedication that inspired the entire crew. The symbiotic relationship between human actors and digital artists was collaborative and dynamic. On set, actors often performed alongside motion capture stand-ins or interacted with markers representing their CGI counterparts. This required imagination and adaptability, as scenes were filmed with much left to post-production. The visual effects teams, spread across multiple countries, worked tirelessly to bring these performances to life, often iterating rapidly based on director feedback and actor input. One quirky behind-the-scenes anecdote involves a day when an animatronic prop designed for a symbiote's limb unexpectedly malfunctioned, causing it to swing erratically during filming. Rather than halting production, the crew incorporated the moment into the scene, capturing genuine surprise and laughter from the actors. Such moments highlight the unpredictable nature of working with advanced technology in a live environment. The film's sound design was an intricate art form unto itself. Sound engineers blended mechanical noises with organic sounds, such as animal growls, liquid sloshing, and metallic scraping, to create the auditory signature of the symbiotes. The creative team recorded a variety of unusual sounds, including Tom Hardy's own breathing and vocalizations, layering them to enhance the creature's presence. This immersive soundscape contributed significantly to the film's atmospheric intensity. Post-production was a marathon of refinement. Editors worked closely with the director and visual effects supervisors to balance pacing, clarity, and emotional beats. The complexity of integrating live-action footage with extensive CGI meant that sequences were often revisited and reworked multiple times. Sound mixing and color grading further polished the visual and auditory experience, ensuring a cohesive final product that engaged audiences on multiple sensory levels. Marketing efforts capitalized on the film's behind-the-scenes lore. Featurettes and interviews showcasing the technological innovations, actor preparations, and creative problem-solving were released to build anticipation. Interactive digital campaigns allowed fans to explore the symbiote's designs and discover hidden Easter eggs, deepening engagement and fan community participation. In sum, the making of Venom, Let There Be Carnage was a testament to human creativity and collaboration amid the demands of modern blockbuster filmmaking. It combined cutting-edge technology with heartfelt performances, navigated unpredictable challenges with humor and resilience, and crafted a world where monstrous spectacle and emotional truth coexist. These production insights and fun facts remind us that beneath every epic frame lies a story of dedicated artists and technicians whose passion breathes life into the extraordinary. The world of Venom, Let There Be Carnage unfolds across settings that pulse with atmospheric tension, grounding its extraordinary narrative in spaces both familiar and uncanny. From grimy urban alleys to claustrophobic interiors, each location is meticulously crafted and cinematically rendered to reflect the fractured identities and simmering chaos at the heart of the story. These settings do more than serve as mere backdrops. They actively shape the emotional tenor and thematic resonance of the film, working in concert with cinematographic and visual elements to immerse viewers in a world teetering on the edge of order and dissolution. The film's urban environment plays a pivotal role in establishing its mood and narrative texture. Set primarily in an unnamed cityscape that resonates with echoes of San Francisco's gritty streets and London's overcast charm, the locations evoke a world both modern and shadowy. Narrow alleyways, rain-slicked pavements, and neon-lit corners create a visual language steeped in noir sensibilities, echoing themes of duality, concealment, and moral ambiguity. This urban landscape becomes a labyrinthine stage where human frailty and monstrous forces collide, its claustrophobic spaces mirroring the characters' internal entrapments. Production designers and location scouts worked extensively to imbue the city with a lived-in realism that transcends generic urban tropes. Graffiti-scarred walls, flickering street lamps, and bustling marketplaces provide tactile textures that anchor the film's heightened reality. Yet, these spaces are deliberately imbued with a sense of decay and tension. Cracked sidewalks, abandoned warehouses, and flickering signage suggest a world under strain, mirroring the narrative's escalating conflict. The city feels alive yet precarious, a character in its own right whose moods shift with the unfolding drama. Interior settings offer a complementary exploration of confinement and exposure. Eddie Brock's apartment, with its sparse furnishings and cluttered surfaces, reveals aspects of his fractured psyche, a liminal space where his human vulnerabilities and symbiotic alter ego intersect. Tight framing and muted lighting within these rooms create a sense of intimacy tinged with unease, reflecting the tenuous balance Eddie maintains. Similarly, the stark, institutional interiors of the prison where Cletus Kasady is confined evoke themes of repression and impending rupture, their cold, oppressive design contrasting with the explosive chaos carnage will unleash. Cinematographically, the film employs a rich palette of lighting techniques to articulate mood and thematic subtext. Urban night scenes are bathed in chiaroscuro, where shafts of light slice through darkness, casting long shadows that suggest hidden dangers and fractured identities. This interplay of illumination and obscurity visually manifests the film's preoccupation with duality and the unseen. Neon signs and streetlights provide punctuated bursts of color, electric blues, sickly greens, and deep reds, that heighten the sense of unease and volatility. Daylight scenes, though fewer, are filtered through overcast skies or rain, suffusing the film with a persistent gloom that underlines the character's emotional turbulence. Rain itself becomes a visual motif, its relentless presence a cleansing yet oppressive force that blurs edges and distorts reflections, symbolizing the instability of identity and reality. Cinematographer Matthew Libatique's deft use of natural and artificial light crafts a world where the boundaries between clarity and ambiguity are constantly negotiated. Camera work in the film is dynamic and purposeful, shifting between kinetic energy and intimate observation. Action sequences burst with fluid tracking shots, rapid pans, and handheld intensity that thrust viewers into the heart of symbiotic combat. These techniques convey the visceral power and unpredictable nature of the alien entities, creating a sensory experience that is both exhilarating and disorienting. Conversely, character-driven scenes favor steady, composed framing with selective focus that invites contemplation and emotional connection. Visual effects seamlessly integrate with practical cinematography to enhance atmosphere. The symbiotes themselves, fluid, shifting, and monstrous, are designed with a blend of organic and mechanical textures that reflect their hybrid nature. Their movements are rendered with meticulous attention to detail, capturing both predatory grace and alien menace. Environmental effects, billowing smoke, splintering glass, and surging flames, interact convincingly with live-action elements, reinforcing the tangible presence of chaos in the film's world. Color grading further refines the film's tonal landscape. The palette transitions from cold, desaturated hues during moments of tension and threat to warmer, richer tones in scenes of vulnerability and connection. This modulation guides viewers emotionally, underscoring narrative shifts and character development. The visual rhythm crafted through color and light invites repeated viewing, revealing subtle nuances that enrich understanding. Sound design complements and amplifies the visual atmosphere. The ambient noise of the city, distant sirens, footsteps echoing off concrete, the hum of traffic, grounds scenes in reality while underscoring isolation. Contrasted with the symbiote's alien vocalizations, guttural growls, wet slurps, and echoing whispers, the soundscape articulates the tension between human and otherworldly. Musical cues weave electronic and orchestral elements, underscoring moments of dread, tension, and rare tenderness. Symbolically, the settings function as externalizations of internal states. The fractured cityscape, with its shadows and light, represents the dualities within the characters, the coexistence of humanity and monstrosity, control and chaos. Rain and reflections serve as metaphors for identity's fluidity and fragmentation. The prison's oppressive architecture encapsulates Casati's psychological imprisonment and foreshadows his explosive escape. In sum, the film's settings and cinematic elements coalesce into a richly textured environment that elevates narrative and thematic concerns. Through deliberate choices in location, lighting, camera work, and visual effects, the filmmakers craft a world where mood and meaning intertwine. This immersive atmosphere invites viewers not only to witness the story but to inhabit its emotional and symbolic spaces, deepening engagement and amplifying the film's impact. Behind the pulsating visuals and thunderous action sequences of Venom, Let There Be Carnage, the heartbeat of the film's creation was shaped by a tapestry of human stories. Moments of camaraderie, unexpected challenges, and creative problem-solving that brought life to its monstrous spectacle. The making of this film was as complex and dynamic as the symbiotic relationships it portrays, with cast and crew navigating a demanding production environment marked by technical innovation, physical rigor, and genuine moments of levity. Peeling back the curtain reveals a world where artistry and resilience converged in fascinating and often surprising ways. One of the defining features of the production was the seamless blend of cutting-edge technology with traditional filmmaking craft. Director Andy Serkis, himself a pioneer in motion capture performance, approached the project with an emphasis on emotional authenticity amid the digital spectacle. His collaboration with Tom Hardy, who not only starred as Eddie Brock but also lent his physicality and voice to Venom, was central to this vision. On set, Hardy's dedication was palpable. He spent hours practicing movements and gestures to embody Venom's unique blend of power and fluidity. To capture this, the team employed sophisticated motion capture techniques, but also relied on Hardy's improvisation and instinct, creating a symbiosis between actor and alien that transcended technology. Behind the scenes, Hardy's commitment extended to a playful yet intense atmosphere. He engaged with cast and crew in ways that blurred the lines between work and camaraderie. Anecdotes from the set recount Hardy's penchant for light-hearted pranks and spontaneous humor, which helped diffuse tension during long shooting days. His rapport with Woody Harrelson, who portrayed the villainous Cletus Kasady/Carnage, evolved into a friendly rivalry, with both actors exchanging improvised lines and playful banter that sometimes made its way into the final cut. This chemistry infused their scenes with a raw energy and unpredictability that enriched the film's tone. The physical demands on the actors were considerable. Stunt sequences required meticulous preparation, and Hardy performed many of his own stunts, pushing his physical limits in pursuit of authenticity. Scenes involving high-speed chases, intense hand-to-hand combat, and intricate choreography were rehearsed extensively. One particularly challenging sequence involved a vehicle chase through tight urban spaces, where precise timing and coordination were essential to ensure safety and cinematic impact. The stunt team's creativity and professionalism turned potentially hazardous maneuvers into seamless, exhilarating moments. Visual effects supervisors faced monumental challenges in bringing the symbiotes to life. Carnage's design, with its shifting tendrils and grotesque texture, required the development of new animation techniques and software tools. The digital artists worked closely with Serkis and the actors to capture the creature's fluid movements and emotional expressions. This collaborative process involved constant iteration, with early versions of scenes undergoing significant revisions based on performance feedback and technological possibilities. One memorable story involves the creation of Carnage's tendrils. Initially, animators struggled to make them move naturally without appearing mechanical. After numerous experiments, they incorporated motion studies of snakes and cephalopods, resulting in the sinuous, menacing motions seen on screen. The integration of practical effects added another layer of complexity. While much of the symbiotes were digital, certain scenes employed physical props and animatronics to give actors tangible references. On one occasion, a large mechanical claw designed to simulate Carnage's reach malfunctioned during a take, swinging erratically and eliciting genuine startled reactions from the cast. Instead of halting production, the director encouraged embracing the unpredictability, capturing the moment's spontaneity. Such incidents exemplify the delicate balance between technology and human adaptability on set. Location shoots presented their own unique set of challenges. Urban scenes were filmed in various parts of London, which stood in for the film's unnamed city. Coordinating action sequences amid bustling streets required collaboration with local authorities, careful scheduling, and extensive crowd control. Weather posed additional obstacles. Unpredictable rain and wind frequently disrupted lighting setups and sound recording. The crew adapted by employing weather-resistant equipment and flexible shooting schedules, demonstrating resilience and resourcefulness. Sound recording and voice sessions were vibrant spaces of creativity and experimentation. Hardy's vocal performance as Venom involved pushing his voice to new extremes, creating a palette of growls, whispers, and sardonic quips. During one recording, his deep vocalizations unexpectedly triggered studio alarms, prompting a brief evacuation that became an amusing anecdote among the team. These sessions were often collaborative, with sound engineers encouraging Hardy to improvise and explore new vocal textures, adding layers of personality to the symbiote. The post-production phase was marked by intense collaboration and innovation. Editors worked closely with visual effects teams to synchronize live-action footage with CGI symbiotes, ensuring narrative clarity amid visual complexity. Early cuts of action scenes were refined multiple times to balance kinetic energy with emotional beats. Sound designers crafted a layered soundscape blending mechanical and organic noises, immersing audiences in the film's alien-human hybrid world. Marketing efforts tapped into these behind-the-scenes stories, releasing featurettes that showcased the technological breakthroughs, actor preparations, and on-set camaraderie. Interactive campaigns invited fans to explore the symbiote's designs and the filmmaking process, fostering a sense of community and anticipation. In sum, the making of Venom, Let There Be Carnage was a dynamic interplay of artistry, technology, and human connection. The film's success rests not only on its dazzling visuals and thrilling narrative but on the dedication, creativity, and resilience of the cast and crew. Their stories, from high-tech innovations and demanding physical performances to moments of humor and unexpected mishaps, remind us that behind every cinematic spectacle lies a vibrant human endeavor, rich with passion and ingenuity. Beneath the visceral spectacle and shadowy intensity of Venom, Let There Be Carnage, the film unfurls a rich tapestry of themes and symbolism that invite deeper reflection. Far beyond the monstrous forms and explosive confrontations lies an exploration of identity, duality, and the fragile boundaries between self and other. The narrative becomes a meditation on the nature of coexistence, between light and dark, control and chaos, humanity and alienness, woven through its characters' journeys and amplified by potent symbolic imagery. To fully appreciate the film's complexity, one must engage with these underlying currents that shape its emotional and intellectual resonance. At the heart of the film's thematic core is the notion of duality. Eddie Brock and his symbiotic counterpart, Venom, embody the eternal struggle between contrasting forces within the self. Their relationship oscillates between antagonism and partnership, reflecting the human condition's perpetual negotiation between desire and restraint, chaos and order. Venom's monstrous appetite and protective instincts symbolize primal urges that coexist uneasily with Eddie's conscious morality and vulnerability. This dynamic renders their symbiosis not as parasitism but as an intricate dance of dependence and negotiation, underscoring themes of internal multiplicity and self-integration. The antagonist, Cletus Kasady, and his symbiote Carnage offer a stark counterpoint. Their fusion epitomizes unbridled chaos, a dissolution of boundaries where violence and madness reign unchecked. Carnage represents the shadow self pushed to its extremes, the ID unmoored from conscience, a force of destruction born from trauma and fractured identity. Through Kasady, the film interrogates how unresolved pain and fragmentation can manifest as monstrousness, both literal and metaphorical. This contrast between Eddie/Venom and Kasady/Carnage dramatizes the broader theme of control versus surrender. While Eddie struggles to master his alien half and channel its power responsibly, Kasady revels in the loss of control, embodying nihilism and annihilation. Their conflict is not just physical but existential, a battle over the possibility of agency amid internal and external turmoil. Symbolism permeates the film's visual and narrative fabric, enriching its thematic depth. The symbiotes themselves are emblematic of hybridity and transformation, creatures that defy clear categorization, blending human and alien, organic and inorganic. Their fluid, shifting forms suggest the permeability of identity and the constant flux of selfhood. This symbolism invites viewers to reflect on the nature of boundaries, between self and other, normal and monstrous, and the possibilities inherent in embracing complexity. Color and light function as symbolic tools throughout the film. Venom is often associated with shadowy, deep blues and blacks, colors that evoke mystery and the subconscious. Carnage, in vivid reds and pulsating tendrils, symbolizes violence, passion, and chaos. Lighting contrasts, harsh neon glows against oppressive darkness, reinforce the thematic interplay of illumination and obscurity, knowledge and ignorance, control and surrender. Urban settings, with their claustrophobic alleys and flickering lights, become metaphors for the fragmented psyche, spaces where hidden desires and fears lurk beneath the surface. The rain-soaked streets, reflective and mutable, symbolize emotional turbulence and the blurring of realities. Such environmental symbolism complements character arcs, visually articulating internal states and narrative shifts. The film's recurring motifs of containment and release further underscore its thematic concerns. Eddie's efforts to restrain Venom parallel his attempts to contain his own impulses and reconcile fractured relationships. Kasady's breakout from prison and Carnage's unrestrained violence symbolize the breaking of boundaries and the unleashing of suppressed rage. These motifs highlight the tension between repression and expression, order and chaos, and the consequences of imbalance. Relationship dynamics deepen these explorations. Eddie and Wang's fraught connection embodies themes of trust, forgiveness, and vulnerability. Their interactions reveal the human cost of monstrous transformations, reminding audiences that beneath alien forms lie profoundly human emotions. Similarly, the volatile interplay between Eddie/Venom and Kasady/Carnage reflects the dialectic of creation and destruction. Empathy and annihilation humor functions as a thematic counterbalance, offering a coping mechanism for trauma and alienation. The witty banter between Eddie and Venom provides relief amid darkness while revealing the complexity of their bond. This tonal interplay suggests that laughter and connection are vital forces that mitigate isolation and fear. From a psychoanalytic perspective, the film dramatizes the integration of the shadow, the repressed, often feared aspects of self, through Eddie's evolving relationship with Venom. Casati and Carnage represent the dangers of failure to integrate these shadows, leading to fragmentation and destruction. This framework enriches understanding of the character's psychological depth and the narrative's moral complexity. The film also engages with post-humanist themes, questioning what it means to be human in a world where boundaries between species and identities blur. The symbiotes challenge notions of fixed selfhood and autonomy, proposing hybrid forms of existence that disrupt anthropocentric paradigms. This thematic strand invites reflection on identity, agency, and coexistence in an increasingly complex world. In sum, Venom, Let There Be Carnage weaves a dense web of themes and symbols that elevate it beyond genre spectacle. Through its exploration of duality, transformation, trauma, and connection, it offers a textured meditation on the human condition and the monstrous potentials within. The film's rich symbolic language, manifested in character dynamics, visual motifs, and narrative arcs, invites viewers to engage deeply, revealing new layers upon each viewing. It stands as a provocative and resonant work that challenges us to confront the complexities of identity and the enduring quest for wholeness amid chaos. Beneath the visceral thrills and pulsating energy of Venom, Let There Be Carnage lies a meticulously crafted filmmaking tapestry. One woven from innovative techniques, immersive sound design, dynamic editing, and purposeful camera work, that together conjure an atmosphere both electric and intimate. These creative choices do more than amplify the blockbuster spectacle. They breathe life into the complex interplay between monstrous symbiotes and their human hosts, inviting viewers to inhabit a world where chaos and connection collide in vivid sensory detail. To fully appreciate the film's impact, we must delve into the artistry underpinning its creation, exploring how each technical element shapes mood, rhythm, and meaning. Central to the film's visual language is its pioneering use of motion capture technology, an innovation that marries human performance with digital animation to create symbiotes who feel at once alien and profoundly expressive. Director Andy Serkis, himself a luminary in motion capture, leveraged this technology to transcend traditional CGI limitations. The process began with actors like Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson performing in specialized suits embedded with sensors that captured minute movements and facial expressions. These digital puppeteers imbued Venom and Carnage with a dynamic physicality, fluid, unpredictable, yet rooted in authentic human nuance. The motion capture sessions were more than technical exercises. They were intimate performances that captured the character's psychological depths. Hardy's portrayal of Venom incorporated subtle gestures, a twitch of a hand, a playful tilt of the head, that humanized the alien symbiote, fostering audience empathy. This attention to detail elevated Venom beyond a monstrous antagonist into a complex character grappling with identity and companionship. Similarly, Harrelson's embodiment of Carnage channeled raw aggression and fragmented psyche, with motion capture enabling nuanced expressions of madness and menace. Complementing motion capture was the film's seamless integration of practical effects and cutting-edge CGI. While symbiotes are predominantly digital creations, the filmmakers strategically employed animatronics, prosthetics, and physical props to anchor performances in tangible reality. For example, during close-up shots or scenes requiring physical interaction, actors engaged with partial suits or mechanical appendages that lent weight and texture to their performances. This blend ensured that digital elements did not float unnaturally but merged convincingly with live-action footage, enhancing immersion. Cinematographically, the film balances kinetic energy with moments of intimate stillness, crafting a visual rhythm that mirrors narrative tension. The director of photography, Matthew Libatique, employed a versatile arsenal of techniques to navigate the story's shifting moods. Action sequences burst with handheld and Steadicam shots that track symbiotic battles with visceral immediacy, immersing viewers in the chaos. Rapid pans, whip cuts, and dynamic framing accentuate the unpredictable and aggressive nature of symbiote combat, evoking a sense of being caught in the maelstrom. In contrast, Quieter scenes between characters often utilize steady, composed framing with shallow depth of field, focusing attention on emotional subtleties and psychological complexity. Close-ups linger on facial expressions and nuanced gestures, inviting viewers to witness the internal struggles beneath monstrous exteriors. The interplay between frenetic motion and contemplative stillness structures the film's emotional cadence, guiding audience engagement. Lighting design plays a pivotal role in establishing atmosphere. Urban environments are cloaked in chiaroscuro, high contrast between harsh artificial lights and deep shadows, evoking noir sensibilities and thematic dualities. Neon glows punctuate dark alleys, symbolizing fleeting moments of clarity amid pervasive ambiguity. Interior scenes often employ muted, naturalistic light that accentuates texture and conveys intimacy or confinement. The pervasive use of rain and moisture adds reflective surfaces, deepening visual complexity and metaphorically suggesting emotional turbulence. Color grading further shapes tone and mood. The palette oscillates between cool blues and grays in moments of isolation and tension, and warmer reds and oranges during scenes of violence or passion. Carnage's presence is visually marked by vivid crimson hues that pulse and shift, embodying raw aggression and chaos. This chromatic storytelling reinforces narrative beats and emotional shifts, creating an immersive sensory experience. Sound design is integral to the film's immersive power, crafting an auditory landscape that blends organic and mechanical elements. The symbiote's vocalizations, growls, hisses, whispers, were painstakingly designed by layering animal sounds, electronic effects, and human voice recordings. This fusion produces creatures that feel alive and alien, simultaneously threatening and strangely emotive. Ambient soundscapes of urban noise, distant sirens, footsteps, dripping water, anchor scenes in tangible reality, contrasting with symbiotic sounds to highlight otherness. The musical score, composed by Marco Beltrami, intertwines orchestral motifs with electronic textures and tribal rhythms. This sonic hybridity echoes the film's thematic fusion of human and alien, primal and technological. The score's dynamic shifts, from brooding tension to explosive crescendos, guide emotional resonance and narrative pacing, enhancing viewer immersion. Editing shapes the film's narrative clarity and kinetic energy. Editor Mark Helfrich balances rapid cuts in action sequences with more measured pacing in character-driven moments. Cross-cutting builds suspense by interweaving parallel storylines, while rhythmic montage accelerates tension during battles. Selective use of slow motion accentuates pivotal moments, allowing audiences to savor critical gestures or revelations. This editorial precision maintains engagement without overwhelming viewers. Camera techniques extend to creative perspectives. Point-of-view shots align viewers with characters' experiences, heightening empathy and immersion. Wide aerial shots reveal scale and spatial relationships during large set pieces, contrasting with claustrophobic close-ups that convey psychological pressure. Occasional use of Dutch angles and distorted lenses subtly suggests disorientation and instability, mirroring narrative themes. The filmmaking techniques collectively shape the film's atmosphere, a textured world where the monstrous and the human coexist in uneasy harmony. Visual and auditory elements intertwine to evoke tension, humor, horror, and empathy. This carefully calibrated sensory design transforms spectacle into experience, inviting audiences to inhabit the film's complex emotional and thematic landscape. Box office success further underscores the efficacy of these techniques. The film's technical achievements drew praise alongside its narrative and performance strengths, attracting audiences eager for immersive, high-stakes entertainment. Its visual innovation and dynamic pacing contributed to robust theatrical engagement, especially in premium formats like IMAX and Dolby Atmos, where sound and image amplify impact. In conclusion, Venom, Let There Be Carnage exemplifies how sophisticated filmmaking techniques, motion capture, cinematography, sound design, editing, can transcend spectacle to forge a resonant, multidimensional cinematic experience. Through meticulous craftsmanship and creative vision, the film invites viewers not only to witness a battle of monstrous forces but to explore themes of identity, connection, and transformation within a richly realized sensory world. The story of Venom, Let There Be Carnage would be incomplete without turning our attention to the people who breathed life into its electrifying characters, the cast whose performances shaped the film's heartbeat, and the voices of audiences who carried it beyond the screen into cultural conversation. These human elements, intertwined with the film's technical prowess and narrative ambition, reveal a layered dialogue between creators and viewers, underscoring how art is both made and received. Exploring the cast's experiences, insights from interviews, and the diverse reactions from audiences paints a vivid portrait of the film's impact, both intimate and expansive. At the center of this cinematic universe stands Tom Hardy, whose portrayal of Eddie Brock and the symbiotic Venom anchors the film with a compelling blend of intensity, vulnerability, and dark humor. Hardy's commitment to the dual roles goes beyond mere performance. It is a deeply physical and psychological undertaking. In numerous interviews, Hardy has spoken candidly about the challenges and exhilarations of embodying a character who is as much alien presence as human man. He described the motion capture sessions as immersive experiences that required blending athleticism with emotional nuance, capturing Venom's fluidity and ferocity while maintaining Eddie's grounded humanity. Hardy's vocal work, delivering Venom's distinctive gravelly tone laced with sardonic wit, was another avenue of creative exploration. He embraced the complexity of giving voice to an alien entity whose personality oscillates between menace and reluctant friendship. His interactions with the director and sound team were collaborative endeavors aimed at balancing the character's otherness with accessibility, resulting in a performance that resonates with both humor and pathos. Fans and critics alike praised Hardy's chemistry with himself. His ability to portray the internal dialogue and tension between host and symbiote was widely recognized as a highlight of the film. Woody Harrelson's portrayal of Cletus Kasady, the man behind the terrifying Carnage, brought a raw, unhinged energy that contrasted sharply with Hardy's more grounded performance. Harrelson approached Kasady with a deep dive into the character's psychological fragmentation, exploring the madness and trauma that fuel his violent tendencies. In interviews, Harrelson spoke about the freedom and challenge of playing a character so unrestrained, describing the physicality required to inhabit Carnage's monstrous form as both exhausting and liberating. His commitment extended to voice work and motion capture, collaborating closely with visual effects teams to translate his performance into the digital realm. His portrayal was often described as wildly charismatic, a chaotic force that demanded viewers' attention and complicated easy judgments about villainy. The supporting cast also contributed layers of depth and humanity. Michelle Williams reprised her role as Wang, Eddie's ex-fiancée, bringing emotional nuance and a grounded perspective to the tumultuous symbiotic world. Williams spoke about portraying Anne's complex emotions, love, fear, resilience, and the character's role as an emotional anchor. Her presence provided a counterbalance to the film's intensity, highlighting themes of connection and redemption. Reed Scott, Stephen Graham, and Naomi Harris added texture to the narrative, portraying law enforcement and journalistic figures whose interactions with the protagonists raised questions about justice, truth, and societal order amid chaos. Their performances lent credibility and dimension, fleshing out a world where monstrous and human realms collide. The cast's off-screen dynamics were marked by warmth and collaboration. Interviews reveal a set alive with playful energy and mutual respect. Hardy and Harrelson's playful rivalry evolved into a creative partnership, marked by improvisation and shared humor that enlivened their scenes. The camaraderie extended to the entire team, fostering an environment where creativity thrived amid technical demands. Audience reception of the film was multifaceted, reflecting the complexities embedded within the narrative and tone. Fans of the original Venom embraced the sequel's escalation of stakes, praising the intensified action, darker themes, and the deepening of character relationships. Many appreciated the film's blend of horror, humor, and emotional depth, highlighting Hardy's and Harrelson's performances as particularly compelling. Social media buzz and fan forums were abuzz with discussions about the symbiotic dynamic, the visual effects, and the film's thematic explorations of identity and duality. Critics offered a range of perspectives that enriched the conversation. Some lauded the film's bold tonal shifts and technical achievements, noting how it pushed boundaries within the superhero genre by foregrounding psychological complexity and moral ambiguity. Others expressed reservations about pacing or narrative coherence but often acknowledged the magnetic performances and the film's willingness to embrace risk and unpredictability. This critical dialogue underscored the film's layered nature, inviting viewers to engage with it as both entertainment and text. International audiences added their own voices, with the film's global release sparking diverse reactions shaped by cultural contexts. In many regions, the film's exploration of duality and monstrousness resonated with local cinematic traditions of horror and thriller genres. The universal themes of internal conflict and the quest for identity found fertile ground, enhancing the film's worldwide appeal. Audience reviews on platforms such as Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb reveal a passionate fanbase, often praising the chemistry between Eddie and Venom as a source of both tension and humor. Viewers highlighted the film's capacity to balance explosive spectacle with moments of emotional sincerity, appreciating its nuanced portrayal of symbiosis as metaphor for human relationships. Some noted the film's darker tone and graphic violence as departures from typical superhero fare, applauding its courage to embrace complexity behind the scenes. The cast and crew engaged with fans through interviews, conventions, and social media, deepening the film's cultural footprint. Hardy and Harrelson shared insights into their characters and the filmmaking process, fostering a sense of intimacy and accessibility. These interactions cultivated a community of viewers eager not only to watch but to discuss, analyze, and celebrate the film's many layers. In sum, the interplay between cast performances, creative interviews, and audience reception forms a vibrant ecosystem that extends the film's life beyond the screen. The actors' dedication and insight bring texture and humanity to fantastical figures, while audience responses reflect the film's success in sparking reflection and connection. This dialogue between creators and viewers underscores cinema's power as a shared experience, one where stories are not only told but lived, questioned, and reimagined through the eyes of many. As our journey through the multifaceted world of Venom, Let There Be Carnage draws to a close, it's worth pausing to reflect on the rich terrain we have traversed together. This film, with its explosive energy and monstrous spectacle, reveals itself to be much more than a typical superhero sequel. Beneath the symbiotic battles and chaotic violence lies a layered narrative exploring themes of identity, duality, trauma, and redemption, woven through complex characters whose struggles resonate far beyond their alien forms. We began by situating the film within its cultural and theoretical context, recognizing director Andy Serkis' unique blend of cutting-edge motion capture technology and emotional storytelling. Beneath the symbiotic battles and chaotic violence lies a layered narrative exploring themes of identity, duality, trauma, and redemption, woven through complex characters whose struggles resonate far beyond their alien forms. We began by situating the film within its cultural and theoretical context, recognizing director Andy Serkis' unique blend of cutting-edge motion capture technology and emotional storytelling. His vision fused technological innovation with human nuance, transforming digital creatures into expressive beings and crafting a cinematic world that is both viscerally thrilling and psychologically compelling. The film's narrative arc, centered on the uneasy coexistence between Eddie Brock and Venom and the unleashed chaos of Carnage, serves as a canvas for exploring fractured identities and the tension between control and surrender. Our deep dive into the plot revealed how the story balances frenetic action sequences with intimate character moments. Eddie's attempts to reconcile with his symbiote and reconnect with and Wang are juxtaposed against Carnage's relentless rampage, creating a dynamic interplay of internal and external conflict. Key plot developments, such as Casati's transformation, the prison breakout, and the climactic carnival battle, were shown to carry symbolic weight, embodying themes of fragmentation, chaos, and the possibility of redemption through partnership. The characters themselves emerged as richly drawn figures embodying thematic complexity. Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock/Venom embodied the struggle to integrate shadow and self, while Woody Harrelson's Casati/Carnage represented the destructive potential of unbridled impulses. Supporting characters like Wang and Detective Mulligan added emotional depth and societal perspectives, grounding the story in human experience. Their portrayals revealed the film's engagement with psychological and philosophical questions about identity, morality, and connection. Behind the scenes, the filmmaking process dazzled with innovation and dedication. Motion capture technology, practical effects, and visual effects merged seamlessly, enabling fluid and expressive symbiotic characters. Cinematography balanced kinetic intensity with intimate framing, while sound design and musical scoring crafted a rich sensory landscape. Anecdotes from the set highlighted the human creativity and resilience underpinning the monstrous spectacle, from Tom Hardy's vocal experiments to unexpected animatronic mishaps. The film's settings and cinematic elements worked in harmony to enhance atmosphere and meaning. Urban landscapes and claustrophobic interiors became metaphors for the characters' psychological states, while lighting, color grading, and camera work underscored themes of duality and instability. Rain-soaked streets and neon-lit alleys evoked a noir-inflected world where boundaries blur, inviting viewers into a visually and emotionally immersive experience. Audience and critical responses illuminated the film's cultural impact. Fans celebrated the chemistry between Eddie and Venom, the layered performances, and the bold tonal shifts. Critics acknowledged its contributions to expanding genre possibilities, engaging with its psychological complexity and thematic ambition. Interviews and fan interactions further enriched the dialogue, creating a vibrant community around the film. Ultimately, Venom, Let There Be Carnage stands as a cinematic work that transcends its blockbuster trappings. It is a meditation on the human condition wrapped in alien forms, a story of fractured selves seeking integration, chaos seeking balance, and monsters revealing the fragile humanity within. The film invites us to question what it means to be whole amid contradiction, to find connection in disarray, and to embrace the monstrous and the human as intertwined facets of existence. If this exploration has deepened your appreciation and sparked curiosity about the layers beneath the spectacle, there is so much more to uncover together. Cinema is a vast landscape of stories waiting to be decoded, where every frame holds meaning and every character embodies complexity. Here, we dive beyond the surface, illuminating hidden facets and inviting thoughtful engagement. So, if you've enjoyed this journey and want to continue exploring the rich worlds of film, unpacking themes, dissecting techniques, and celebrating storytelling's magic, please consider subscribing. Join a community of fellow movie lovers who value depth, insight, and the joy of discovery. Together, we'll keep unraveling the mysteries and marvels behind the movies that shape how we see the world. Thank you for sharing this cinematic adventure. Until next time, keep watching with open eyes and curious minds, for every story has secrets waiting to be revealed.